Hello, hello, quilters. This is Geraldine Wilkins, the Living Water Quilter. I'm so glad we're together again for another Quilt Conversations live. How are you? How was your week? Hello, Copper. Hello, Sherry. Hello, Sheila. How are you? I'm so glad you're here. Hello, Marsha. How are you? Hello, Benita. So glad you're here. How are you? How was your week? I see, Lois, you said at the top of the chat that you are still sewing Christmas presents. Fantastic. I'm glad. How's it going? Are you doing okay? Are you going to make your deadline? Who else is here? Did I say hello to you, Sherry? How are you, Sherry? Who did I miss? Anyone? What was your week like? Did you get as much as you wanted accomplished? Did you rest? I never get my list done. I always feel like I have a whole new week and I'm going to get X done. But I never do. I get some things done, but not always the things I want. Hello, Wilda. How are you? Hello. Good to have you here. Is it another pizza night? Are you making pizza tonight? Wrapping presents. Okay. And packing for another trip to be with your parents again. Okay, let's see. I don't know why he's doing that. I want to hide that. Okay. Doing some back end stuff here. Trying to fix the comments. Oh, Lois, yep. We never get all the things we want done, do we? Wow. I'm going to put that on mute. Okay. And I know what that is. Okay, let me see if I can get this without disturbing. Nope. No, I don't want that. Back to the camera. Okay. Little technical problems there, but hopefully it got solved. Okay. If you've seen my behind the scenes photo, you know there's a lot going on in front of me. And so sometimes I get a little flustered with, okay, what was I supposed to do? Didn't I fix that before the live? Hey, Michelle, how are you? I'm so glad you're here. Awesome. So glad you're here. All right, what did I miss? Benita, no pizza tonight for Wilda. Benita, you made your first cathedral window block. Awesome. Yay. I love when we try new things. Awesome. And Sherry, you've been working on some Christmas ornaments. Nice. Are they a new type of ornament? Or it's ones you've made before? Let's see. Standing ovation for Benita. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes. Let's see. What else is happening? Oh, you know what? On tap for tonight. It's not as busy as normal. I don't have a lot of things to share. Of course, I went live on Amazon and I'm going to share that. But also, I think what I want to, and this was a last minute thought. I don't know if many of you know, I have another YouTube channel and it's called Geraldine A. Wilkins and it's travel and tech. I just started it and I don't have a lot up there, but it's mostly right now travel stories from when I was a photographer traveling around the world. And there's different stories associated with some of those trips to like Egypt and Haiti, Mexico, and where else? Iraq. So I share some behind the scenes experiences when I went abroad to take photos for publications. And you can take a look if you want. And just to give you a little hint, whenever I went traveling, I did, in the beginning, I would collect instruments from different places in the world, different instruments. And so, for instance, I have this big instrument from Thailand that it's similar to a xylophone, if you know what a xylophone is, but it's all made of wood. It's amazing. And it's heavy, and it's on my wall in my living room. It's a big instrument. I don't have it on the traditional um, stand that Thailand people would play with it. It's on the wall. I would collect instruments. Mm. Oh, your son served in Iraq. Well, thank him, please, for his service. Thank him for that. When I went to Iraq, so that's on the website, on the YouTube channel, a story from that. And when I went there, I went to this village, and it was a Christian village where Nahum's tomb is. Nahum's tomb from the Old Testament. So that you'll see a little video on that with some photos. I used to play when I was young. My mom sent us all to music school, and I learned the piano and the organ, but I haven't played in years. So I just appreciate musical instruments. The other thing that I would collect was fabric from different parts of the world. I wanted unique fabric from places like South Africa and Thailand and India. Like I got 2 saris made when I was in India. 2 saris. Yeah, I guess I am adventurous. Sometimes when I share these stories, I try to think. I say to myself, "Wow, is that your life?" Like, I guess it was. Yeah, I've been to a lot of places. So it was instruments for its season, and then it was fabric for a season, and then also another part of what I'd like to get was um, handmade items by local artisans. I didn't like the tourist trap type shops where it was probably made in China. I wanted something made by someone from that country. Mm. Uh, you know what? I still have some of that fabric. I'm afraid to use it. I haven't used it yet. It's still inside one of my containers, and I haven't figured out how I'm going to use it, like the fabric from Thailand. And it's not all necessarily quilting fabric. That's the other thing. You have a collection of flutes. How interesting, Marsha. Are you a flute player? Is it flautist? My nephew plays the flute. Um, Local gifts are the best, Sherry. That is so true. So I'm going to share 2 with you. And in the videos on the Geraldine A. Wilkins, because guess what? I found out there are a couple of more Geraldine Wilkins YouTube channels. So I had to put that A in there, my middle initial for Amanda. So it's Geraldine A. Wilkins. And in some of those videos, I share some of those things that I brought back from those countries. So I share the photographic experience, the relational experience I had with various people in these different countries, and all of those are just small vignettes. Because I don't want to make the video too long. But if you have any questions or you want to know more about any of the places I visit, I'd be happy to share them, and let me know if you want me to do more videos like that. I'd be happy to do that because I think people and cultures are interesting. They're just fascinating. The things that that are different from me. I find them interesting and I enjoy learning about other cultures. Hey, Terry, hello, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. And let me say welcome to anyone that is new in the chat, or if you're watching and you're not chatting, please join the chat. We have a fabulous community of encouraging women. We enjoy our time here every Friday, and we want you to be a part of the community. Please join. If you're watching the replay, come live on Friday if you're able and join us. But we're glad you're able to watch on the replay. If you have any questions, always post a comment below the video on YouTube or even on Facebook, and I'll be happy to answer your question. So I'm going to share two of those things that I brought back. So I went to Egypt a couple of times, and across the street from where we stayed was this church with a gift shop. So I heard that gift shop had handmade items. So I went there and I got this beautiful Coptic cross. Hopefully you can see it. Where's the top? Here's the top. Now, it reminded me of a quilt because of the intricacies of all these mother of pearl and other pieces of, I'm not sure, it's mother of pearl here. And then there's other pieces that were all individually placed within this wood frame. And then they shellacked over it. It is gorgeous. I love this. This is one of my favorite things because it reminds me of my two loves, things that are handmade. Well, actually three. My faith as a believer in Jesus, and then handmade items, and then quilting. Yes. Please do more videos. Okay, I will, Copper. Thanks. Awesome. Okay. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, inlaid. Thank you, Copper. That's the right word. Inlaid. Just amazing. Tiny little pieces, hexagons, the star. Just gorgeous. I love it. So I don't know if you can see it better if I bring it in closer. Yeah. I don't know if you can get all the detail in that. Is that amazing? Look at that. Handmade in Egypt. Yes. Okay, and then the second thing is a basket set. I'm only going to show you one of the two, but this was made by a local woman in the Philippines. And it's made with these twigs, and I forget the particular tree that it was from. I'm going to have to make a quilt with that cross. That's an interesting idea. Yeah. Yeah, the cross. It's just, oh, I love it. I love it. It hangs right by my door. So every time I go in and out of the house, I always see it. I just love it. Yeah. It is a quilt pattern. Yeah. And thank you, Cassie. I didn't know you were here. I'm so glad you are. Thank you. And so this is all natural. Twigs and dried out, I guess it's from the palm tree, but I forget exactly the materials. But it's all natural materials from the Philippines and handmade. I just love it. And so I have two of these. And so when I see these around the house, it reminds me of the country, but also of the people I met when I was there. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you. And if you are interested, most of those videos aren't very long. They're at the most 6 to 10 minutes in length, some shorter. And I talk about the photos and why and how I took them and the challenges I faced and some of the difficulties and the relationships. So take a look and let me know what you think. All right. So what are we going to do today? We're going to talk about jelly rolls. And if you're thinking that I thought about Wilda when I thought about this project, you are correct. Yes, Wilda, jelly rolls. But before we do that, I want to let you know that reads. Copper, you always have the right words. I'm always at a loss for the right words to describe, but you're right. Reads. You're probably right. Hello, Lorraine, and welcome. So glad you're here. It was good to see you too. Good to see you and Wilda. Wilda laughs. Oh, Sherry, I didn't know that about your parents. Awesome. Wow. Yes. I think, I don't know if all of you saw that session early on, Quilt Conversations Live, where I talked about my 20 plus years as a photojournalist. You can take a look at that if you want to know more about it. Which site do you mean, Cassie? I don't know what that means. All right. Hello, everyone on Facebook. Yes, hello. That's what Copper says to everyone on Facebook. You can't see the comments here flying in YouTube. Lots of activity over here on YouTube. So feel free to join us here if you'd like, if you're on Facebook. But you don't have to. Stay where you want to stay. So anyway, Amazon. Let me go there very quickly. Amazon this week, I've changed the theme. Last month, November, it was all about different quilting books, and then I would pepper it with different quilting projects and tools associated with those projects, like rulers and other things. But for the month of December, all the lives are going to be about the tools I use for fabric cutting and things associated with fabric cutting. So rulers, of various kinds, specialty rulers I use every single day whenever I'm making a quilt. Oh, thank you, Copper. Copper just put the link in so that you can see the replay. So if you can't join me live on Wednesdays, 7 p.m. on Amazon, you can watch the replay. And you just go to that link that Copper just put on the YouTube chat and scroll down to the bottom of the page, and you can see the recorded live session. If you want to join me, when you go to that link, you can click the follow button, and then you'll be notified when I'll go live in case you forget. But anyway, this is going to be an exciting time. And this was the first one a couple of days ago where I talked about these fun and useful tools that we can use in our quilt making and sewing. And this first one that you're seeing is a 45 millimeter blade sharpener for our rotary cutter. So I talk about that. This is a easy sharpening tool that you can get to sharpen your rotary blades. Hello, MC. How are you? I'm so glad you're here. I don't have the link for the other YouTube channel. I'll have to put that in the YouTube description box, or just put in the search, Geraldine A. Wilkins. It should come right up if you want that for the travel stories. So, okay, so this is one of the tools I talked about. And then I talked about my favorite fabric scissors. Do you have a favorite pair of fabric scissors? Which ones do you like? Do you have a pair that are just all the time when you cut, you get nice, clean cuts? Let us know in the chat. What's your favorite fabric scissors? Mine are Gingers. Oh my goodness. I've had them for years. I love them. They are sharp. Of course, I have to get them sharpened every once in a while, and I'll just go to my local quilt shop and sewing machine. It's not really a quilt shop. It's a sewing machine and vacuum store here in town, and they will sharpen it. Or sometimes when you have a quilt show in the area, within the vendors, there might be someone who sharpens scissors, and I used to do that too. But I love Ginger scissors. What are your favorite scissors? All right. So that's one. I talk about that. My favorite ones are sharp. The ones that are sharp in that work. That is so true. Yes. Yes, they have to be sharp. Dull scissors are frustrating. Yeah, these are quality, heavy duty scissors. These are no joke. Ginger scissors. Love them. And Copper uses Kai scissors, okay? And no one can use them. That's right. You have to put them under lock and key. They're not for cutting anything else. You need to get yours sharpened. Yeah, get them sharpened. So this is a reminder. And then I talk about this tool I use for a triangle and a square. It's from Quilt in a Day. It's a 2-template set, and it's perfect because a lot of quilt blocks use triangle in a square. And I love this one. It makes 2 different sizes, 3-inch and 4-inch. Yep, your best scissors, Wilder, other Gingers. Yep. Mm-hmm. And Nancy. Hey, Nancy, how are you? I'm so glad you're here. All right. All right. So glad you're here. So this tool, I talk about this, and I do a quick little demo on it. Just to show how I made this one quilt. That's the quilt featured in this episode. And I talk about the star points and how you get star points from using this tool. You don't clip them off. And then I talk about Invisigrip. Invisigrip is something you put underneath your cutting templates to help grip the fabric. It's a clear vinyl. I don't know if any of you ladies ever heard of it or tried it, but you can put it on the entire, except for a sliver. They tell you in the instructions to cut off just a little bit less around the perimeter of whatever tool you put it under. Okay, Copper uses Invisigrip. Great. So I talk about that. And then I talk about my all-time favorite cutting ruler. It's a Creative Grids. Now, I love all Creative Grids rulers. But this one, every single time I'm at my cutting table, I always use this ruler. And this is no exaggeration. I use it to cut yardage. I use it to cut strips. I use it to cut my strips for binding, for making the cuts I need for binding to attach the strips together. And so in this video, I give a demo on how I use this ruler to cut strips on the 45 angle to attach them with a diagonal seam that's perfect every time. My expression in the still, I know it's kind of weird. It's like, ah. Oh, Wilda loves Invisigrip too. Great. Yes, that's a good point, Wilda. Creative Grids rulers already have a grip system on it. You don't need them for Creative Grid rulers. Invisigrip is for those that don't have that grip system. Creative Grid rulers are unique in that way. Oh, Wilder also has this. This is this favorite ruler is called the Quick Trim and Circle Ruler. Quick Trim and Circle Ruler by Creative Grids. And I love this ruler. It does so many different things. You can use it to make circles too because it has holes down the center. So anyway, I'm not going to give you all the details because you need to go and watch the video because I talk in depth about why I like this ruler. But in particular, I give a demo on binding. All right, so that's it for Amazon Live. We're all caught up on that. Invisigrip, the tool by Quilting a Day. Oh, Fiskars. Okay. Awesome. Lois has some new scissors. Yay. Her son-in-law works for them. Cool. All right. Fabulous, fabulous. Okay. Someone requested that we play Pictionary. Do you want to do Pictionary or you want to do the project? Which one first? Which one first, ladies? Pictionary or you want to do the project, the jelly rolls? I know Wilder probably wants to do the jelly roll project. Copper says Pictionary. Marsha says project. So that's even now. Pictionary says Sherry. Okay. All right. So I think Pictionary won so far. Uh-oh. Now it's tied. Hi, Terry. I didn't know you were here. I'm so glad you are. Hope you're doing okay. Hope you had a good week. Okay, so now it's tied. Pictionary 2, Project 2. We need someone else to vote. Okay, Sheila, project. Now we have 3 for the project. Okay, project. Okay, project is first. Okay, so I'm going to do a lead in for this project. We have been looking at some small projects. Now, if you remember, if you've been here for a while, we are... Wilda, so funny. I thought about doing that, Wilda. She wants to see how a jelly roll is opened. Okay, Sherry, we're going to do the project. Great. Terry loves new projects. Okay, come on. You have to stop because you're making me laugh. I need to talk about the project. All right, so we've been talking about for months now, right? Free motion quilting, machine quilting, that's what this channel's all about, right? And I've been trying to encourage you little by little with these little projects that we need to practice on real things and move past the fear. And some of you are doing that. And yes, we need to do that practice. I encourage that: paper, pen, small quilt sandwiches. But when we have these small projects, and that's why the last few months I've been sharing small projects specifically because it's the holiday times and sometimes we need some inspiration for small projects for gifts, right? But also I'm hoping that you can see that I'm sharing projects to help us practice free motion quilting and then what to do with some of those quilt sandwiches that we've practiced. Like last week, for those who missed it, we looked at taking our practice sandwiches and making tissue covers, right? Practical gift. All right. Okay, so Sheila says she just sorted all her jelly roll. Okay. Now you have time to use them. Okay. Awesome. Enlighten Wilda. Okay. All right. So tonight's project is no different. But I also want each of these projects, they are so vastly different that hopefully it's starting to give you your own ideas about how you can practice your machine quilting. Because we did the tree skirt, which was just a complete like edge to edge project, right? The tree skirt pattern that I shared with you was a simple pattern. And it was just one big whole cloth with a border if you want. And so that's perfect for practicing one design that you're trying to master. And if that is stippling, if that's feathers, it's whatever it is that you're trying to master. The tissue covers were taking your practice and making it into a gift. And then we did the quilt as you go. So just simple projects to help practice. So this is no different. And this is taking jelly rolls, something that we all buy. Now, I used to buy them, and I still have some here, like Wilder, still wrapped because I rarely use jelly rolls. But when I was an Island Boutique ambassador, every month we had some kind of project, and they sent us this fabric, and they sent me jelly rolls and other pre-cuts because they want us to demonstrate how to use them. So here it is. I'm going to show you. Here's the pillow. I made 2 versions of this pillow. The first one is actually the one in the back, which is the orange and green. I made that one first before I was an ambassador for Island Boutique. And I made it as a practice on how to use a serger when I was a Juki educator. When I was working for Juki, I had to learn all their various machines. And any machine that I wanted to learn how to use, they would bring me down to Miami and I would be trained, but also I could have a machine sent to my home. So I had one of their air sergers sent to my home, and oh, I love that machine. I wanted to cry when I had to send it back when my season with Juki was over. So anyway, basically I took a jelly roll and I serged the ends. I just serged the ends. Yes, beautiful home decor. Thank you, Marsha. So this is the first one, and just look at that beautiful, I used a variegated thread. So I just took the jelly roll and just did of course I tested, I tested on fabric first, right? How is this going to look? How's it going to work? So I did that. And once I was satisfied, and these are strips, 2.5-inch strips that were woven. I've weaved them. So after they were each serged on both sides, on the long side of the jelly roll strip, then they were woven together and then made into this pillow. And I think the variegated thread is what really makes this pillow. I mean, I like the orange and green variation in that little cream strip right in the middle. But here it is. After they were serged, they were weaved, and then I put a backing. I glued them to an interfacing to hold it together for the pillow. Yeah, it does look metallic. Yeah, it's not metallic though. It's a cream to brown kind of variegated thread. Once in a while, variegated thread, at least in my opinion, is fantastic. It doesn't always work for every project. You like this? Okay, great. Awesome. Hello, Elaine. So glad you're here. We're talking about how we can use this small project to practice some techniques. These are home decor pillows. And if you own a serger, you can do this, but you don't have to have a serger. You can also use an overcast stitch on your sewing machine, one that will cover the edges of the fabric. You just have to look at your decorative stitches to see which would work and to test it beforehand. So let me give you a close-up look of that variegated thread. And so I just wove them together, and then I used interfacing with that already had some adhesive on it to hold the weave together. Awesome. Yeah, that's so true. Thank you for joining us. You're up late. You're up late. All right. So, have you ever tried this where you've tried a project and you like it, but you feel like there's something missing. I need to do something extra. So, oh great, you have a serger. You hardly ever use it. This is fun and easy. You just serge those edges, weave the fabric, put it on a stabilizer that has adhesive on it, heat sensitive. But I found that once I made the pillow, I didn't like the weight of the fabric. You know, when we quilt something, we have layers. And so when you make a quilted pillow, you have 3 layers. You have the top fabric, the batting, and the back. So I felt like I wanted to try something else to create more stability for the strips. Because right now it's just strips woven together, right? Yes, it has that interfacing on the back, but every time I make any kind of home decor project, I like to be able to wash it. And so I always put zippers or buttons for my pillows. So they're pillow covers. It's rare that I'm stuffing a pillow. It's always a cover. So I thought, would this stand up to washing? So something to think about. Okay, so after I thought about that, I said, okay, how can I do this differently? And how can I incorporate what I love, which is free motion quilting? This doesn't have any quilting in it at all. None. It's a sewing project, right? So let's take a look at my next step. So the blue pillow that I'm going to show you now, okay, I should have covered these. There we go. Okay, so here is the pillow that's number 2. Number 2. Do you see the difference? You see that there's stitching on those strips. Can you see that? Stitching. And you see I have a zipper. I always put zippers on my pillows. And I said, well, how can I incorporate stitching on those strips? And how can I stabilize it so that it will hold together as a pillow when it's washed? And again, what kind of quilting design would you put on those narrow strips? Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like the colors. Thank you. Yeah, fun. It's modern. Just very simple quilting, perfect for practice, right? So the next photo shows you what I did, because how do you quilt a 2.5-inch strip? Tell me, how would you do that? Now, because my photos were out of order, maybe you saw it ahead of time, which you wasn't supposed to, but maybe you missed it. Tell me, how would you free motion quilt a 2.5-inch strip? How would you do that? Yes, I love the challenge and coming up with new things. I love coming up with new things and new ideas. It's fun. And even with this pillow, I feel like there's another step that's missing. Although this one, I think the construction is better than the first. Very carefully, says Wilda. She would quilt her 2.5 strip very carefully. And for those of you that have been watching and coming to the lives, you know that I have steps. Steps, right? So no other ideas about how you would quilt a 2.5-inch strip. Not how in terms of the pattern, but how in terms of the mechanics. How would you put it underneath your machine? How would you hold it? Would you stitch left to right? Would you stitch it the lengthwise? How would you do it? Because how do you hold a 2.5-inch strip? I guess that's more of the question, is the mechanics of stitching a 2.5-inch strip. Flowers sound very nice as a design. That's true. Sometimes, ladies, I don't want to just give you the answers. I at least for my particular project, but I would like it to be a conversation and for us to think about the process together, so that as you think about it, you're going to do the same thing in your own projects, right? Okay. So that's why I like to ask. It's not necessarily a test. It's more about helping us develop our thinking and design skills, helping you share my own process. And maybe that works for you. Maybe it doesn't. Okay. Good question. Shari says, do your strips have batting and backing? No, they were not quilted with batting. No batting when it was quilted. No batting when it was quilted, because I thought about if the strips were, which is an option. Maybe that's another pillow. Maybe I need to try that and see the difference between the two. But this time I didn't do that. I didn't think that I wanted to serge the strip and the batting together. But what would happen if I did that? Is that a better option? To serge the top fabric after it's been quilted with batting? Since it's woven, does it need batting or backing? Well, in that first pillow with the orange and the green, there was no batting, and it was just a stabilizer. And that stabilizer wasn't very heavy. It was a medium weight stabilizer. And I felt like it maybe would not hold up under washing. It seemed it's okay when you hold it in your hand. Yeah, that's one of the challenges with this pillow, Sherry, is that it's a little stiff. So the first one is like too soft and pliable, if you will. It might get have a problem in a washer. It definitely would not be in a washer with a middle agitator. It would be in one of those ones that doesn't have an agitator. This one is a little bit stiffer, but then in the first one, where the weaves intersect, there was a gap when I put the pillow form in, and so it kind of opened up, and the the interfacing that had the adhesive was put on the entire woven piece. Strip on some kind of frame. I'm not sure I know what you mean by that. So let me just share this process. A lot of good questions, and I'm glad you ladies are thinking about it. Did I use stabilizer? Yeah, I used a stabilizer. But here's what I did. And I'm not saying it's perfect and right. I think I need to do a third one to work out the stiffness that Sherry mentioned. Like embroidery. Oh, okay. No, I didn't. You would weave it all, then quilt it. Oh, that's an interesting idea. Okay, weave it all, then quilt it. Now, are you saying you would do that even though it's serged? How would you deal with the serged ends and the quilting going over the serged ends? Because are you going to weave it without serging raw edge, or are you going to serge each strip and then quilt over those little areas and not touch the serged edges? These are all great ideas, but I hope you ladies are seeing this thinking process that we're doing, this kind of brainstorming of how, as a designer, you start to go through this process of creating something. Often we get a pattern and we think, oh, this is great, I love this. But designers, we go through a lot to get to that end product, that end design. A lot of testing, a lot of trial and error. Yes, a lot to think about. Yeah, that's what I thought. I was thinking, Copper, that if it's quilted after it's all woven and serged, that the stitches could be broken. That's a possibility. Yeah, and you're right, Elaine. We would try that and see if it worked. Okay, so often, at least in this case, I should say, I looked at the challenges that the first pillow had and what I wanted to change. So the second pillow solved some of those problems. And so, but it also created some. it ended up being a little bit stiffer. So I'll show you the next photo to show you what I did. Now, there were two things I wanted to do. One, I wanted to make the structure of the pillow stronger so it could withhold washing. The second thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to eliminate those gaps that were in between the parts that were woven. Because when I put the adhesive on the first pillow, the stabilizer that had the adhesive went on after it was all woven. So I said to eliminate that, maybe each strip separately needs to have its own stabilizer, double-sided stabilizer with double-sided adhesive. So I used an adhesive, a stabilizer that had double, that had I'm getting this all confused. Start over. With the second pillow, I used an interfacing that had adhesive on both sides, a heavier weight adhesive that had adhesive on both sides. So that interfacing I glued, and I'll show the photo now. So the strips were ironed on top of a interfacing that has adhesive on both sides. Once I laid those strips out, ironed them on, I can freely quilt them. That's what I did. And it made it easy to free motion quilt the strips. Now each strip has not only been glued to the top of this stabilizer, this stabilizing, I think I used the core bond. I think that's what I used. And two-sided adhesive. Then it was serged. Does serving wrap the edge? Does the serging wrap the edge like a rolled hem? Serges wrapped the serger does wrap around all the way around, and so it's a nice clean finish on both sides. It's just beautiful. Doesn't matter which side it's on. I would just test to see if the rolled hem would work as well. So you like this idea? You like this idea? Okay. Good. It's starting to fall into place. Okay, good. All right. Yes. So this made it easy to free motion quilt, right? And now after all the strips were quilted, I just trimmed each one. I left a little gap because I wanted to make sure the edges had completely had the adhesive. Then I took the strips to the serger and I serged the ends. Now, because there's adhesive on the back of each strip, what happens now is that once it's woven together, I would heat the woven piece, and now it's all sticking together. There's no gaps. I'll go back to the original photo. All of this, one strip is sticking one to another. So you can't put your finger in between the woven sections. In the first pillow, you can put your finger through. Oh, thank you, ladies. Thank you. Awesome. I'm so glad you like this project. Okay, so there are the strips. They are ready now to be woven. They have adhesive on the back, so after they're woven, I heat set it, and they're all sticking together. Okay, and I'll show you the back. So there you can see that there is still adhesive, right? Because when they're woven, they're going to stick to each other, but also they're going to leave an area that I can now use felt or batting or anything I want to make it more of a plush pillow. Now, if I feel like that adhesive on the decor bond is not enough, I can add more if I choose. That's really up to you. Yes, and it was probably decor bond is one of my favorites, and it comes in different gauges. And this one was, I think, a little too stiff. Like I said, I prefer this technique to the first one, but it did leave the pillow a little bit too stiff. It could be that it could soften with use over time. I don't know. You don't want to lose a finger in a pillow. Hey, ladies are so funny. Okay. Okay. All right. Funny, funny, funny. A funny copper. And you were wondering about the fingers. Okay, yes. When in this one, in the second, no fingers in between. And you know how it is. If we can do that, it's just like when you tell a kid in school, don't put that pencil in your ear. They're going to do it. They're going to put the pencil in their ear. We're going to do that with the pillow. If there's a gap, we're going to say, oh, look, there's a gap, and put our finger in it. Let me go back to the first one. Let's see here. So there are gaps. If you look at the very top of this image, when the pillow is forming to be stitched, it's curved, you can see there's a little gap on one of those strips, actually on several of them, but it's especially noticeable on the orange strip, the dark orange in the middle. You can see a little gap, and even on the bottom you can see the gaps in the bottom of the pillow. Or the kid who puts tweezers in the outlet. That's true. Yes, Sherry, you were thinking about kids. Yes. Michelle, you're funny. This started out as a simple math project, which is cutting and sewing, and turned into science because of the hypnosis theories. Oh, ladies, I enjoy our date night. Hello, how are you? I'm so glad you're here from the quilt stream. Welcome. You are welcome to be here. Thanks for joining us. Everyone say hello. uh, um, I'm not sure what that the YouTube, is that from the Geraldine A. Wilkins channel, Copper? Oh, it is. Thank you for sharing that, Copper. Thank you. So, are you inspired to make your own woven pillow with a jelly roll? What do you think? Are you going to try to combine some of the techniques we talked about? Are you going to try something completely different? Maybe, Marsha, you're going to weave it and quilt it and then tell us the result. Let me know if this is going to be on your 2022 list. Do you have a list for 2022? Do you have a project list for 2022? I hope so. I hope you do. I do. I've already started on some of those projects. I'm getting ready. Oh, well, I think we have had a lot of good inspiration for free motion quilting practice, real projects. So some of you out there, I hope you're adding them to your list. Terry, Sherry, Copper, you are inspired. Awesome. Yay. Awesome. Wilda, open that jelly roll. Open that jelly roll. No deadlines. Yay for Sherry. No deadlines. Awesome. Okay, Elaine has a leftover Christmas jelly roll. Great. Awesome. Yay, Lois. You're going to practice. Awesome. Now, ladies, you know what happens. Time flies when we're having fun, and it's already an hour. And I promised to play Pictionary. Do you want a couple of rounds of Pictionary before we sign off for tonight? Let me know. Well, it's like which one to open. Too much pressure. Yeah, deadlines. Let me tell you, I got some deadlines looming for me. I got so many deadlines, it's ridiculous. Yes, I got some. Always working on some kind of deadline. You know, in this industry, we are always projecting out a year, 2 years in advance. So every day I'm working on projects that's for today, tomorrow, 6 months from now, a year from now, in some stage or another. All right. Okay. So, do we have any takers? Any takers on Pictionary? Next week would be okay. Is that what you're saying? Okay. Now, ladies, I still want you to know that if you want to do some show and share, I did put a link for Zoom. So if anyone wants to join the Zoom, you can do so. You can either join the Zoom show and share as a member of QCL, Quilt Conversations Live, or you can just join as you go. So it's an after show party, and we just come on Zoom and we share some of the quilting and sewing techniques that we have learned here and talked about here on Quilt Conversations Live. It's open to you. And if you join as a member, the show and share is free. Membership now, I reduced membership. It's only $10 a month. And so with that, you always get 10% off of my mugs and sweatshirts and t-shirts, but also show and share is free every Friday, and it starts at 8:30. So let me know if you want to do that, or you just go to the website and it's join.livingwaterquilter.live to get all the information for the Zoom link. It's in Zoom. Okay? So I just want to remind you of that. That's every Friday. That's something new. It's after this session, we go to a show and share in Zoom. All right, ladies. I've done so much laughing tonight that my voice is starting to go. So you're working on your list. Good, Marsha. Yes, Friday nights are fun. And don't forget, if you don't already, subscribe. And if you don't already, hit that notification bell so that you can be notified when I go live or upload a video. And don't forget that you can share this with other quilty friends who you think might be interested. There's a share button down there on YouTube. You can share the video. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed our time tonight. When you do all those things, it sends a signal to YouTube and says, hey, there's some people who like Quilt Conversations Live. Maybe we should let other people know about it. So do that if you haven't already. And if you are here and you're new, I'm so glad you came. You are welcome. You are welcome. And thanks you, Copper. Thanks to Copper for being our QCL moderator extraordinaire. You are welcome, Sherry. You are welcome. You are quite welcome. Let's see. What else? Last thing, what do you have planned for the weekend? Anything special for any of you ladies? Yes, Copper does rock. Anything special for the weekend? What are you ladies up to? You are welcome. It's getting very late. Yes, Elaine, thank you for joining us all the way from the other side. We are so glad that you can join us. Have a good rest, and we hope to see you next time. So glad you could come. All right, Cassie is still practicing. Yes, fantastic. I love to hear that. Practice, practice, practice. Awesome. I think I'm actually going to start sewing if I can get one project finished. There's one project that's just holding me up that I need to finish, and it's all computer work. So I hope to get that done, and I can start sewing next week. All right. Jelly roll. Jelly roll race. Okay, yeah. Building a kitchen rolling cart. You're building as in nail and hammer building? Wood? That sounds interesting. All right. Well, I think that's it. I am so glad we had another fun night. Thanks for joining, ladies. I will see you next week. If you're watching on the replay, don't forget you can ask questions and anything I shared tonight. Remember, the links are down below on the YouTube channel. Any of the tools, links to join the QCL membership, to go to my blog, to join my email list. If you're not on my email list, join my email list. You can sign up there too. There's a link there down below. Have a good weekend, ladies. See you next time.